Hello viewers, welcome back to a new tutorial for today. How you all doing and how you faring so far? Thank you so much for following up this channel. Your like, your subscribing and all that, I really appreciate. And please, if you are here to subscribe to this channel, just click on the subscribe button and subscribe. Thank you so much, and make sure you turn on your notification bell to get notified when I upload a new video. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you guys on how to cut a short pencil gown with half length and to have a waistband. So I'll be using these 3 layers of Ankara fabric to be an asymmetric neck and a Canadian sleeve. To be a very beautiful tutorial, please make sure you watch till the end. Okay, this is the 3 layers of Ankara, and the measurements I'll be needing for this try is my hip measurements, my gown length, my half length, my bust measurements, my shoulder measurements, and the rest. As you just go on, you just observe what we'll be doing. So I'll first of all fold this material into two using the biggest part of my body, which is my hip measurements, plus 2 inches for seam allowance. So you just fold using your hip measurement plus 2 inches for seam allowance. We'll be cutting the lower part of the gown first before cutting the upper part. The upper part, since I said to be having a half length, so I'll cut the lower part of it first before cutting the upper part. Okay, my gown length in total is 38 inches. That 38 inches, I will minus my half length from it, and the half length I'm working with is 15 inches. So by the time you minus 15 from 38, you get 23 inches. So the lower part of my gown will be 23 inches. I'll add 2 inches extra to it for seam allowance. So I'll just go ahead now and mark 25 inches for the lower part of this dress. It's 25 inches, which is right here. This is including seam allowance. The actual length is 23 inches plus 2 inches for seam allowance. Okay, so we are cutting the front first before cutting the back. So from this line, I'll take my waist measurement. The waist I'm working with is 32 inches, which divided by 4 will give me 8 inches. And look at the 8 inches here. So I'll add 2 inches for seam allowance and 1 inch extra for my dart. So this is it. Then I'll come down by 8 inches from the waistline, which will serve as my hip line. This varies from individual's height. Some might be 9 inches, but this client is 8 inches. That's the measurement from her waist to her hip. Is 8 inches. So I just draw the line. On that line, I'll take my hip measurements. 45 inches divided by 4 will give me 11.25, which is right here. Just mark 11.25 here plus 2 inches seam allowance. Okay, from my hip measurement here, I'll minus 2 inches from whatever I have here. So what I'm having here is 13 inches. Minus 2 will give me 11 inches. So I'll just come down here by 11 inches. You can make yours lower than that. You can decide to minus 4 inches depending on how tight you want it to be at the lower part, or how penciled you want your dress to be. But I'm okay with 11 inches. So I'll just connect the lines with my ruler from my hip line to my dress length, that's the hemming line, and to the waistline. I'm just connecting it right away with a straight ruler. Then I'll use this cuff part to connect the hip area. Okay, so this is the front side of my gown. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So I'll just cut this out. Okay, this is for the front. So I'll just fold into two again for my back. So I just placed the front against the back, leaving at about, so I have to check this to be setting 1.5 inches for zipper allowance. So you just place it like this, making sure it's equal at the lower part, then you just cut. Okay, I'll open up this area and I'll also notch the allowance I left for my zip. I'll notch the zipper allowance. Okay, so that's it for the back. So we'll go ahead to cut the upper part of the dress. So you also fold using your shoulder measurement for the center front of your front of the upper part of your dress. So just check to see excess. Just trying to get my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches, because the shoulder I'm working with is 16. 16 divided by 2, because you divide your shoulder by 2. So I'll just mark the 8 inches here. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll mark 3 inches for the neckline. Then I'll connect it to that 3 inches, just like this. Okay, this is for my shoulder slope, so I'll just trim that off. Okay, so from that point I'll measure from my shoulder line. I'll measure my breast point. That's the distance between the shoulder to the breast to the nipple. What I'm working with is 10 inches. I'll add half inch to it, that's 10.5. Then under bust measurement, which is 13 inches plus half inch, that's 13.5. Then my half length, I'll be using exact 15 inches for the half length because I'm still going to attach a band to it. So I'll just use 15 inches without any seam allowance. By the time you attach your band, it will become exactly 15 inches because we are going to see join the shoulder and the lower part together. So I'll just mark 15 inches here. Remember I said we'll add a band to this dress, the waistband. So that's it. I'll just roll out the line in order to give you a clearer view. Okay, my breast point line, my under bust line, and my actual half length. So I'll mark the distance between the breast point and the under bust. So what I'm having here is 3 inches. So I'll come here by 3 inches for the chest line. Just come up by 3 inches and also connect the lines together. Okay. So from my 16 inches shoulder measurements, so from that point where I marked my 16 inches for my shoulder, that's 8 inches, divide by 2, I'll come down by 4 inches. Then I'll connect the line together like this. Now my breast point line, I'll take my bust to bust measurement, that's the nipple to nipple measurement, and my on my breast point line, which is this line, the middle line here. So and the breast point line I'm working with is 7 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 3.5. I'll add half inch extra for seam allowance, making it 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches on all the lines. 4 inches, 4 inches, and also on my chest line I'll mark 4 inches. Then I'll connect to this 4 inches I came down with from my shoulder line. I'll just connect it like this using a free hand. Connect to the 4 inches we marked on each of the line like this. So I'll just trim this off. So I'll just notch my breast point line, my chest line, and my under bust line. Okay, so now we'll be cutting the side part of the dress. Mascara still on fold. You have to fold your mascara into 2 again. This is for the side center front, for the side front, sorry. Then I'll mark about 3 inches extra at this point before placing my center front. Just mark 3 inches extra because you'll be needing that space later on. Then I'll place my front like this, the center front like this. I'm leaving at about 3 inches behind. So that line where I marked the 3 inches, I just placed it. So I'll trace out my center front. Just trace it out. So I'll use that my notched, where I notched, I'll just draw the lines out. Remember I said it will help us as a guide, so I'll just draw the line out. My breast point line, following where I notched, my chest line, and my under bust line. Okay, my chest line, I'll take my bust measurement, which is 36 inches. Divide by 4 will give me 9 inches. Plus 2 inches for seam allowance. My waistline, under bust, now take my waist measurement, 32 inches. Divide by 4 will give me 8 inches. Plus 2 inches for seam allowance. I'll take same measurements at the half length. So I'll just connect these lines together. Then I will take my armhole measurement, which is 17 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 8.5, sorry, 8.5 here. Then I'll just connect to the straight line. 8.5 to the 8.5 that marks. I'm just trying to connect the line in order not to make mistake. Okay, now this front part you come in by quarter inches, but at the back area you won't be coming in by quarter inches. You just come in by quarter or half inches, 0.25. So I'll just connect it like this, inward 0.25 to my armhole. Then I'll take the center front out. So on my breast point line, I'll come out by 2.5 inches. So where I marked, this is on my breast point line. You come out by, you remove your center front, then you come out by 2.5 inches. Then you connect it like this to the under bust. Then you also mark quarter inches here or half inch here. Then you connect it to the breast point, or your chest line you mark half inches, half or quarter inches. Then you connect to your breast point. You can see how it's looking. So you just connect it to your breast point. So this is it. I'll just cut this out now. So that's all for the center, for the front part of the dress. So we'll go ahead and cut the back part of the upper dress. It's also a simple method. So you still have to fold the material into two. Okay. Fold it into two using your bust measurements plus zipper allowance. So after folding into two like this, I'll mark 2 inches for zipper allowance at this point, 1.5 inches for zipper allowance. This, whatever you use for zipper allowance for the lower part, you use same thing for the upper part. Remember, we use 1.5 inches. So I'll mark 1.5 inches and connect to the half length, which is 15 inches. I'll just draw my half length line, 15 inches. Then connect my 1.5 inches to it. Just mark 1.5 inches for zipper allowance. Mark 1.5 inches. My half length. Normally the back half length is always shorter than the front half length. It's always 2 inches shorter than the front half length. By the way, you can just trim that off after sewing. So I'll just leave it that way. I just have to let you guys know. I'll just insert my shoulder measurement, 16 divided by 2, 8 inches. Come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. Then 3 inches on the neckline. And I'll connect the lines together. Okay. So I'll just mark my armhole measurement from that point, which is 8.5. Connect a straight line to it. Then use my armhole ruler to curve it. Give it a curve, just to curve the armhole. So underneath the armhole, I'll just mark my breast point, 10.5, under bust line and the waistline. So I'll take my bust measurements beneath it, 36 divided by 4, 9 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance. Waist measurements, divide 32 divided by 4, 8 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance. So I'll just connect the lines together like this. Okay, from this zipper area, I'll mark my bust to bust measurement. On the breast point line, which is 10.5, I'll mark 4 inches. So on the breast point line, I'll mark 4 inches down to my half length, 4 inches. Then I'll come down by 4 inches on the armhole area, just like we did for the front. And I'll just connect the line with my ruler. I'll also mark 3 inches. Remember, we use 3 inches for our chest line here. Okay. Let me draw the lines out so you can see the breast point line and my under bust line. So I'll connect from the 4 inches I marked from the armhole to my chest line like this. Then I'll also connect with my ruler to the breast point like this. So this is how it will look like. So I'll just go ahead and split it up. So this is it for the back. I'll just split it up. So I'll open the zipper allowance. Then I'll split this height up like this. Then I'll also trim off my shoulder slope. Okay, so that's it for the back. So this is the back drafting. So what I'll do next is to cut the lining for both the front and the back and also the lower part of the dress. Then we'll do that separately before we talk about the sleeve. After joining the front and the back, then we'll talk about the sleeve. Okay, I just cut the padded front, the center front, and I've also cut out the lining from the front and the back, and also the upper parts. I've cut the padded for it, so I'll just go ahead and use my pressing iron to hold it up together, and also join the Ankara. If you want to join, you have to start from the down like this and sew to the up. I beg now, when I wait. So what I'll be doing now is to line the lower part of it and join the Ankara separately, join the lining separately for the upper part. If you want to join, you have to start joining from the down, with right side facing each other. You sew using quarter or half inches from the down. You start from the down to the up. So I'll do just that. Okay, I've lined my skirt. As you can see how neat it's looking. I just use my lining to turn it over. I've also inserted my darts using my bust to bust measurement. My dart is 5 inches long. I just use my nipple to nipple measurement to draw out the dart. This is the back and this is the front, well lined. So we'll cut the neck of the upper part. Remember I said it's an asymmetric neck. That's one shoulder dress. So I've joined the Ankara. This is one part of the back and this is the second part of it. So I'm just trying to arrange it neatly to draft the neckline. And this is the front part. Padded it using my wadding. I've done a tutorial on how to cut your padded. Okay, you just place it right side facing each other. Then from the shoulder line, I'll measure 4 inches. My shoulder line here, I'll measure 4 inches. Just mark 4 inches. Then I'll come down to the right hand side, to the other side of my dress. I'll come down by 4 inches. Come down here by 4 inches. Then I'll connect from this side to this side in a straight line like this. Just use my ruler to connect it. You can choose to give yours a little curve. You can just curve it a little like this, just to meet up with this line. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. You ensure the right side is facing each other. That's the back and front. You place it in a way that the right side will face each other. So this is my asymmetric neckline. So I'll just do same thing with my lining. Then I'll use the lining to turn both the front and the back. Okay, I just finished turning the upper part of my dress. This is the back. I just used the lining to turn it up. This is one side of the back and this is the other side of the back up. And this is the front. I turn my neckline and also the side area. So what I'll be doing now is to shaping my dress. I'll just mark the back. I prefer to use the back to shaping the dress. Mark my zipper allowance and I'll take the measurements and shaping the dress before cutting my waistband. Okay, I just shaping the dress. Just trim off then I'll measure around so I just shaping the dress. So I'll just measure around the waistline. This band is just based on preference. If you don't want your band, you can just, while cutting, make sure you add extra inches to your half length for seam allowance that you use to join the shoulder. But I didn't add extra inches intentionally because the client wants a band on her dress. So I'll just measure around the waist. Whatever I have, I'll cut a long straight piece for the band. I'm having total of 34 inches including the zipper allowance. So I'll just cut 2 inches long piece, 2 inches wide and 34 inches long piece of material for my band. Okay, this is for my band. So this is for my band. I folded it. Unfold is 2 inches. Unfold, please. So when you open it up, it will be 4 inches. So I added 1 inch extra to it because I want to turn the. So I added 1 inch extra to it because since I turned the blouse, the waistline area, I'll also fold here inward and sew like this. Fold it inward and sew in order to cover up the rough edges. I'll use 1/2 inch to fold it in on both sides. Then I'll flip it over like this and attach it to the waistline. You fold in using 1/2 inch at the edges here like this. Then you fold into two like this. This one is just to avoid rough edges. You can just use your machine to stitch it up to hold it up, or you can just hold it up like this. Then you attach to the dress, to the half length. You attach it straight to the down of the half length before attaching it to the lower part. So I'll do just that before attaching the lower part to the dress. I'll also mark the lower part of the gown, attach it together separately before I join it. I will not join the zipper allowance. I'll mark the front part of the lower part of the gown, waist 32. Then from my waist to my hip 8 inches. That's the distance from the waist to the hip. Hip measurement 45, 11.25. 11.25. So I'll minus 2 inches from the hip like I did when I was measuring it. Then I'll take the measurement right here. That's for the pencil area. I'll just connect my lines together. I'll take the measurement at the other part of the skirt. That's this other side. Then I'll join it to the back area. I just place the back against the front, right side facing each other, or ensure it's equal at this end. You can see I've marked this side, so I'll just sew it straight. I'll face sew using the side I marked. So I'll do the same thing here. I've marked it also, so I'll just sew it straight down. Then at this area, this is where I'll be using to attach it to my dress. Okay, I'll be using this 1 yard for the sleeve. I'm using a whole 1 yard because it's an Canadian smoky sleeve, as you can see from the picture. So I'll be using the whole lot of fabric for it. So I'll fold this yard of fabric into 4. This is 36 inches wide, then 45 inches long. I just folded into 2. I'll fold it again. You just use like triple your sleeve measurement. If you want your sleeve length to be like, the hand will actually be around the elbow area, but since I will be smoking it, I'll measure ×2 of that measurement. So what I'm having here is 22 inches, but my actual elbow measurement is 11 inches. That's ×2 of it, because I will still have to smoke it up. So I'll just give it my sleeve shape like this. I won't be touching this area. I'll just connect it. It will have an elastic band around the edges. I just curve it, giving it a free hand, so I'll just trim it up like this. That's all for the sleeve. Then I'll just pinch in between the spaces, and so I'll just pinch it all around. This is my sleeve. Remember, one is an off shoulder sleeve. Since one is like you're having one shoulder dress, so one of the sleeve will be off shoulder. So I'll just take one piece of the hand, just remove one. I'll fold it and connect it straight, just minus 4 inches from it, and connect my line. I'll mark 4 inches here along the cap area. Then I'll connect it to this side. You just connect it straight to this side. So this will be for the off shoulder area. So that's all about the off shoulder sleeve. So I'll just cut this out. This is how the off shoulder sleeve is looking. You can see how it is. I'll fold up this area with my bias, or I'll just turn it up a little. Just fold it a little. Then I'll also fold the other end. Then at this center part of the sleeve, like the body part of the sleeve, you just pinch it inward along the wrong side like this. You just pinch it up. You just pinch it like this, just like I did. you pinch, you just bend like this and sew. You just do this around the whole dress. You just pinch like this and sew. You pinch all the body of the sleeve. Just keep on pinching and sewing like that to give it a very fine look. So I'll just do just that and attach my sleeve to the dress. Okay, this is the outcome of the gown. You can see the asymmetric neck, my Canadian sleeve. Okay, I just use 1-inch band to turn over the hand. As you can see, you just use it to turn it over. You can see the inner part of the hand. This is the inside, and this is my sleeve. And for the back part, I just did an opening of at about 5 inches at the lower part, then I stitch it up. That's all. I just shapen the dress and attach my zip to it. So this is the end of the video. This is the back part. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like, share and subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.